Vossy, is this an early or a late wake up for you?
This is a late one today, so I'm trying to accommodate you guys.
Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
No worries.
It is light outside, which is nice.
That's good.
Obviously, heading back into the club today, first day back following the events of round 24. Firstly, have you a few days away from the footy club? Then pretty quiet. Get up to much?
Pretty quiet. Pretty quiet. Didn't do too much. No, it was an unusual 48 hours. I think it'll sort of occupy a page in my book somewhere down the line. But it started at pacing the streets around Hawthorn from about half time of the Port Adelaide and Fremantle game to Tuesday morning, sprinting up some of those hills. So no, it was an unusual set of circumstances, but when we look back on it, it was probably a little bit silly actually. But anyway, as long as no one got hurt.
Last one on this, because that's not what this chat is about, but I feel like I've got to ask because it's something I've been dying to ask since Tuesday morning. Is it true you get 2 lattes every morning and scull the first one?
Well, it's not every morning, so some of it's been overplaying, but I have been known to. But as I said, it's early morning starts and there's a pre-coffee me and a post-coffee me, so I'm just better off to knock it over really early and then we can get on with the day at hand.
Is it a full milk kind of setup?
Full milk. So I figure if you work hard enough, you earn some small privileges in life. So I figure that's one of mine.
Well, thanks for that insight into the personal life. But take us into Sunday night. I guess how it all played out and your personal reaction to it all.
Yeah, it was pretty disappointing, and disappointment for a different reason because there's possibly a bit of heartbreak in it as well with the way that it played out. I don't know. I've always sort of been a believer that there's a story to be told, and we'll never know what our story is actually going to be. And if we needed to sit in it, then we're going to sit in it, and we're going to learn from it, and we're going to get better, and hopefully that makes us even hungrier to be able to get after it. And no one likes going through them, nobody at all. And obviously we've got our eyes set on playing finals on a very regular basis, but not just playing finals, having a big impact in them. And so I sort of thought that moment had been taken away, the chance to be able to do that, but then was well and truly put back on the agenda after the Port game.
Did you message Ken?
I did, and I've never sent him this message before, but I just sent him a couple of love hearts and just a couple of blue love hearts, and he gave me the thumbs up approval. So that's about as much dialogue as we've actually had. It's
like when you message your dad, he gives you the thumbs up in response.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I got. But I imagine he was inundated with a few messages himself. But no, very thankful they were able to get the job done. It's not really a situation that I like to be in, is put that into somebody else's hands. That's the second time that I've actually been involved in something like that, where I've had to wait on the results of other teams. The first time was actually the first final series I ever played in 1995, and ironically, it was against Carlton at the MCG, so turning the right to be able to get in there, so to sort of watch a final game and ride every single kick was somewhat different. It certainly was different from a player to a coach, though. As a coach, it was far more nerve-wracking, so I certainly wasn't going to watch it blow by blow, that's for sure.
Yeah, so you're walking around for the entirety of the second half, or you're keeping track of the score, or?
No, I pretty much went for about a 7.5k walk. So I tried to occupy myself for about an hour and a half. Whacked the phone in flight mode, and so I thought I can't do it to myself. And I got home, and the wife was very excited, so I figured that was good news. So she was the bearer of good news, and I think she thought she lost me for a little while, but I couldn't sort of watch it all unfold. And as it turned out, it was from what I told, a very close game. So. But look, we're extremely pleased that we're in there. I mean, it's as disappointing as the actual game was and the loss. It was actually invigorating at the same time to be able to see the way that we played and the spirit that we played with, and some of the passages of play now reviewing the game were electric at times. Some of it involved obviously older players, and some of it involved some of our younger players, and I think you can become energised by that. And we got to see some of the brand that we've come to be known for, and it looks like our guys have sort of really popped with their energy and playing some really selfless brand of footy again. So we obviously want to carry that little bit of momentum back into the finals.
Sam Walsh and Harry Mackay both mentioned this week that September very much is a new season. I guess, what's your message to the playing group today when you walk in for that first team meeting since the Saints game?
Well, we'll deal with that probably at the end about just where do we go from here. There's still obviously some things in the game that we want to make sure we get right, but we do so maybe looking forward more so than looking back. That's probably one of the rare games where you're looking at what's coming versus what's necessarily what you've done, and we've had some clear air between the last game and where we are now. So we don't try to dwell too much on that last game, but we've got to acknowledge some of the progress that we've made. And I'm really keen this morning to have a chat. I said 2 weeks in the press, so we'll find out a little bit about us. What sort of under adversity and under fire can we pull out? And so I'm intrigued by that conversation, and they'll have that conversation this morning amongst themselves as players, and then we'll sort of pull that together and have a bit more of a chat about that this afternoon. But it's all about forming our identity, forming our values. We're still layering our winning behaviours. Clearly, you've heard me talk about being able to do that consistently, and we probably haven't done that clearly. But we can sort of almost forget about that now and just almost create a new chapter for us and a new season for us. And amazingly, it starts at a place where obviously we walked off and preliminary final and losing, and that moment sort of at the end when we're on the grass and the group coming together, and it was a really pointed moment. I thought for us as a club was the supporter base, the players, me feeling that energy right in between them both, that disappointment but also gratitude sitting in between it was quite special. So we get to go back to that scene.
Will you ever escape big games at the Gabba?
That's a good point. No, I don't think so. So yeah, I don't want to really keep playing in finals matches. It means we're not positioned well enough. I'd like it to be a bit more at the MCG, but look, it's a ground. Clearly I've got some incredible memories on, and I had some of those memories with another club, and they're quite special memories. But I'd be pretty keen to add one and a different one at a different club.
Tell us about the young boys who came in for those last few games of the season and how they put their hand up under adversity.
Yeah, it was pretty special to be able to watch, and I think that I spoke about Ashton and his opportunity he got against West Coast, and seeing the look on his face of excitement, that vision when he's about to go on the ground because he's found out that Dirds is getting subbed out, and just sort of takes his eyes, he's got the big white sort of eyes, and takes the deep breath and exhales and sort of knows the moment's come for him to be able to get out on the ground. And it really does take you back to I guess when you play footy and love of footy and being out there and the excitement that he had to just be out there. And for as many times as I say contest and pressure, he says sick. So he's I think that was just the way he described the whole experience, was just sick. But it was special to see. And then obviously that moment where he kicks the goal in front of our home supporters, and how incredible of a feeling that must have been, and what that'll feel for him in his own career moving forward. Really pleased with him. He's doing it in moments at the moment. He's not putting the whole package together, but he will in time. We're seeing some flashes of some exciting football there. See Binzi. I mean, Binzi's been extremely patient. As the coach, I can certainly cop the heat on that one, because he's been able to just be a really consistent performer over the course of the last 12 months, and he's known he's had to go back and work on some things in his game to get himself ready, and that's what he's done, which is a real credit to him and the coaches with how they've worked with him over that period of time. And he's every week he's at my doorstep chasing me through the halls when the team comes out to find out whether he's in the team, and he's managed that disappointment. He's been able to put it into action, and to sort of see what he's done over the last couple of weeks. So again, I think we've seen the strengths of what Brinzy will actually bring to us, over time. And Cooper's quite a different story again, and quite an incredible one. I was impressed with his composure. To be able to have a 19-year-old be able to come in and rub shoulders with Cripps and Walsh, and he hasn't left their back pocket since the moment he arrived at the club, and and you can sort of see it. And some of his work inside goes somewhat unnoticed because they're all sort of little handballs, and he puts somebody else into space. He's got a great work ethic, both offensively and defensively. So he's got a great balance in his game for a kid that's 19 years of age. And then I just really like some of the composure he had in some important moments in the game, and that sort of says a bit about him. So there's some exciting young talent coming through, and to be able to sort of see them in that environment and to be able to dig like they did, earn them a lot of respect. There's no doubt about that.
They're the obvious ones because they obviously came into the side for those final 2 weeks. But I want to ask you about Lockie Cowan and Ollie Hollands, who are still just in their second years as well. But it seemed like, especially in those few games where a few were out, they really relished that extra responsibility.
Yeah, they did, and Ollie's had a shift in role, and out of necessity in some parts, but also as a way to be able to get Binzi into the team, and because obviously he occupies the wing position, and mate, he's been unbelievable, the run that he's been able to give us off half back. So he's added something very different to his game, and he's added real capacity for us down back and some real overlap power. So that's been great to see. Again, another point of difference. And look, I think Lockie has been shown these qualities of being tough and putting his head over the ball, and knowing moments when to be able to run and overlap, and so he's had those in moments, but he's now putting that more consistently together. And mate, I can't imagine a team without him in it. He's certainly what we want to be able to stand for as a footy club, and he's clean over the ball, and he's just got all those sort of skill sets that you want. And when he actually learns how to talk and speak to people, he's very quiet. He's very, very quiet, and he doesn't say a hell of a lot, but he doesn't need to either. The boys love playing with him, and that's the most important thing.
Harry mentioned on his podcast that the understanding was if the team could do a job and get to September, the understanding was there'd be at least a few that could come back into the frame, into the selection frame, I guess, as a coach. Have you thought about that? Can you think about that, or was it very much just about the job at hand?
No, I've already spent a fair bit of time on that. Look, the reality is we tend to put them all in one pile, and they don't sit in one pile. You've got this group that have had effectively a large played most games, and so that's guys like Harry and Charlie, and those guys that have just come out of the side Gov. If they're right, they play. You don't have to worry about their fitness. They're right to go. And then we do have this other group with King and obviously Doc, Adam Chera, Jack Martin. So we've got these other four that we've got to be a bit more considered about what we do there, and appreciate that where we are in the season means that there's going to be an element of risk we need to take. But they come in fresh as well, and there's a benefit in that as well as a new season does begin. So I'm not sure what that sort of will mean in the end, whether they all play or some play. So, and that's just sort of something that we'll sort of make some decisions over the course of the next week, and we'll probably let training tell us about where we go with it.
Change of tune, because it'd be remiss of me not to ask. He's the last person in the world to search for individual accolades, but what was the coach's reaction to Jacob Wiedering finally joining the skipper and getting an All-Australian blazer? Yeah,
I was one of the great privileges you do get as a coach is telling people good news. And when I gave him a call to let him know that he was in the team, I won't say what he said, but he was a relieved man, and he's probably earned that jacket multiple times over. But such is the position he plays in. Obviously, there's very limited opportunities to be able to get in that team, and he's certainly earned his way in, whether that's over the course of, I know we pick these teams over the course of 12 months, but it feels like he's been working for that for 3 years. So for him to be able to get that, and probably even longer, so for him to be able to get that opportunity is great. Look, I always think one of the great joys of being able to coach is to share in people's journeys, and it doesn't always go straight up, and there's a lot of things you learn about yourself along the way, and to sort of share in those, and sharing those moments that work for you and share in those moments that don't work for you. It's all part of, I guess, the coaching experience, and and people to be able to find out exactly what they want to be like as a player. But he's certainly grown in status in the AFL and also within our group, and his leadership's been outstanding, and that's probably what I mark his achievement around more than anything else.
Last year, I guess the message in September for was that Carlton story was about being stronger together, and the club doubled down on that this year in terms of it being the message to the supporter base. Safe to say that's the same for the footy department?
Yeah, it is. It's look, I think over the last little period of time, it's, you know, I talked about squad mentality, and we try to take that approach in everything that we do. It's you know, if a staff member goes down for whatever reason, we carry on. It's you know, it's sort of almost been something that we've almost fell into, if you want to call it that, more than anything else. But look, we'll continue to want to bring that joy to people, and you know, the challenge in that is that we don't just bring joy in joyful moments. You have to bring joy through disappointment as well. It's not just okay, I feel good and this is when I be joyful. It's and celebrate people and celebrate things. You know, the hardest time to do it is when you're under adversity and you're under resilience, and that's what I find when people come together, and that's what I found our club has, you know, come together on. And you know, what I do know that is without it,
red light and speed limit.
Speed limit.
Ahead 60
It's all right.
km/h speed limit.
just to let you know I'm not speeding. No, actually, we're going very slow. But yeah, it's important that we actually bring, you know, that energy to any circumstance and anywhere that we play. And you know, we go to the Gabba this week. We've got a supporter base that travels. They turn up in numbers. We know we're going to get supported. So the fact that you know that you're not out there alone, and that you've got this, you know, incredible backing from a group of people, not just at the Gabba but back at home, it gives you a real purpose of why you play and what you're doing it for. And you know, they're the intangibles that matter. And you know, so we'll keep reinforcing it, and we'll keep expressing our gratitude back the other way.
You mentioned the supporters after the Saints game. Thought they were absolutely unbelievable all throughout the course of the day. And do you feel like that game as well in itself, you kind of touched on it before, was very much kind of the Carlton brand of footy that was back across over the course of 4 quarters?
Yeah, I felt so. It was a fairly consistent performance that was built on the back of just fighting and defending everything we possibly could. And also the reality was, coming into the game, especially over the last 2 weeks, we just knew it was going to be hard to score. We're only going to get limited opportunities. So that's why I was particularly impressed with the forwards, is they played through disappointment, and they were able to stay in the moment, and collectively the energy they brought to anything that hit the floor was just, you know, just super impressive. So the way they approached that last couple of games was something really to build off the back of. And you know, our forward line led it. Obviously the midfield went to work, and our backs were steady down back. So no, I felt like we were certainly closer to where we need to be, but it was all to build off the back of just bringing enormous effort for each other, and that was a significant difference for us.
And tell us about the impact of the fans in the stands, especially throughout that day, because from minute one they were on.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. Yeah, I hope people that were in the actual stand felt the same sort of energy, but it didn't die down at all. I reckon there might have been a fleeting 35 seconds through the second quarter, maybe, or was it third quarter, where they got 20 points away on us. There might have been just a small period of time where it went quiet, but other than that, it had full intensity. And you know, the difference it makes when you're out in the middle is that you just never feel like you're out of it. And there's a presence on the back of it that an opposition feels, because even if they feel like they're in control of the game, when you get support like that, you kick one goal, all of a sudden you're looking over your shoulder and wondering, hang on a minute, aren't we the ones that are actually winning this game? And you know, and so you know, when you're that team that's been supported like that, it propels you into the next action, and you build momentum off the back of it, and that's the impact. And I hope that our supporters feel that, because you know, it makes a difference to us, and that's why we're really appreciative of it.
Just finally, I remember this time last year there were, I guess, the biggest smiles on faces around Icon Park at the prospect of playing finals. I think Cripple was one of them in his press conference. This year may be different, sheerly by nature of there hasn't been a 10-year wait to get back there. But would you be telling the players to kind of hold on to that feeling and embrace that excitement of September footy?
Oh, there's always excitement. Like we'll rock into training and just the grass smells different. Like it's just the day you roll up to September and hopefully the sun pops its head out and you're cutting the grass, it smells different. It just has a really different feel. And there is no doubt that there will be a sense of excitement and there should be. But what they'll feel different is that it won't feel unfamiliar. And there's some actual benefit in that. You can settle into the week a lot better. The players are more aware of the process of what they need to do during the week to get themselves right. You're not, over aroused early in the week. You can sort of set your emotions right. So there's a lot to like about it. And no one final series maps out exactly the same as the other. They're all different, and you certainly can't expect that you're going to be rolling up and expecting the same sort of thing. But what we do hope to bring is, obviously, no matter who plays, a brand of footy that does stack up, and a brand of footy that does stack up in finals. And I think our players have been able to build that confidence over a period of time. So we're keen to throw that out there.
Expecting a few comments about Tuesday morning's events today?
Oh my God! I think it might be. I think I might just put the story on loudspeaker for, so I don't have to repeat it. So I'll knock it over. I did see a photo when I come back. Just quickly to round out this conversation, I rolled back and Sam Walsh and Brodie Kemp were sitting in the cafe. It was just lovely to know that they had the coaches back. Like it's just, here I was looking at, running up the street and they're just sitting there having a nice coffee. It's just lovely to know that they're looking after themselves and recovering properly after the game on the weekend.
Just as the coach would want.
Mate, they did exactly what they needed to do. I didn't need them to do any more than that.
Stay out of trouble.
You stay out of trouble, you recover and you get yourself right and you can chase these blokes this week.
Thanks, Aussie.
No worries.